Business then, to put it mildly, it could be a tough few days for the EU, couldn't it, Will?
Yeah, they've got a bit of a fight on their hands, in fact. It's going to be discussing the budget for the next 7 years. Leaders are just arriving in Brussels at the moment, in fact, and negotiations are going to be getting underway this Thursday, which are unlikely to wrap up today. In fact, they could drag on into the weekend, or alternatively, it's been speculated that things could collapse well before that. Frédéric Simon in Brussels was talking to us earlier, and he explained what's at stake for this key meeting.
As soon as you start talking about money in Europe, the discussions tend to take a nasty turn. In total, about half a dozen countries have threatened to wield a veto on the EU budget if their demands were not met. France, for a start, which wants to preserve the agriculture budget, but also the Eastern European countries, Hungary and Romania, among others, who want their share of the EU's development aid money for poorer regions. And last but not least, you mentioned it, Britain, which wants a general belt-tightening exercise for the entire European Union, arguing that the austerity drive at home should also be reflected in the EU budget. So very tense discussions ahead tonight for this European summit, which may end up in one of those dramas that the EU is now so familiar with. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has already warned and played down the chances of an agreement tonight, saying another meeting might have to be convened in January to iron out differences.
Frédéric Simon in Brussels there. Well, despite that bleak assessment, there could still be some optimism on the horizon.
Well, the Financial Times is reporting this morning that the UK may be softening its position. The latest compromise position from the European Commission has cut another €3 billion off the coming EU budget. Of course, the UK, one of those countries wanting big cuts, and it doesn't quite meet the UK's original aims of getting a freeze or a cut in the budget, but it is less than was originally planned for the next 7 years, so maybe that'll be enough to keep David Cameron on side and give him something to sell back to his Eurosceptic government.
And, of course, the other ongoing worry for the Eurozone countries, at least Greece.
Yes, now, of course, there was another Eurozone meeting on Tuesday which failed to sort out the problem of Greek debt. The fact that it is looking like it's going to be pretty much impossible for the country to pay it off without another intervention one way or another. The main obstacle appears to be Germany not wanting to cut the rates of existing loans, saying that that is essentially illegal. You can't go tinkering with agreements that are already in place. Money may well have to come from the European bailout fund. Nevertheless, Angela Merkel has sounded optimistic that a deal might be done when leaders next meet on Monday.
It is a good message that the Troika said that the requirements for Greece have been met. The so-called prior actions have been carried out. But the longing for one act, one miracle solution, one truth that means all our problems are gone tomorrow. This will not be fulfilled. What was neglected over years, over decades, cannot be taken care of overnight. And therefore we will need to continue to move step by step.
Angela Merkel there. OK, the markets then, Will.
Let's take a look at how things have been going in Asia, and it's been pretty positive today. That's down to, well, perhaps some positive sentiment from the Gaza ceasefire may have helped, but crucially, a HSBC PMI study, that is a survey of manufacturers in China, up for the first time in 13 months, showing that maybe the manufacturing sector is picking up there again. And if we take a look at Europe, you can see that that positive feeling has carried over. The big news, though, in Asia that we've just heard in the last few minutes is that Fitch ratings agency has downgraded Sony and Panasonic to junk status, their company bonds, their debt status, basically. Now, they are two embattled companies. Let's just take a look at Sony. They haven't made a profit since 2008, and their television division has been even longer since it was in the black. So you can see why they are facing such problems against new competitors, or, you know, newly empowered competitors such as Google and Apple in the United States, and this will certainly not help them borrow their way out of trouble.
OK, we've got a story for you now from Nigeria. It's about oil, this one. The latest oil spill by the energy giant ExxonMobil is blighting the coastline and ruining the livelihoods of many.
It's a slow and painstaking process. Since a spill 2 weeks ago, an oily sludge has spread along 30 kilometres of this Niger Delta coastline, making local waterways unlikely sources of this black gold.
Formerly, crude oil was very, very scarce to get. You can't get it, except somebody who works in Mobile gets it from offshore. But the last spill made it very, very free. People were able to get crude oil from the shore.
The cause of this spill, a leaky pipeline owned by the Nigerian subsidiary of ExxonMobil. The US oil giant says they aren't sure how much was spilt or why. They've only just finished cleaning up from another leak in August. And not for the first time. For decades, the Niger Delta area has been contaminated by oil leaks, some caused by faulty infrastructure, others from deliberate sabotage by oil thieves. But with each new disaster, it's the local fishermen and their families that pay the price.
We don't have power. We don't have any power. We can't confront Mobile because they have an army. They have everything. If the government doesn't help us, we'll just go hungry.
The Nigerian government are currently debating about getting oil companies to pay more tax. But it's unclear what impact this would have on Nigeria's biggest industry that makes up 2/3 of the country's GDP.
Now, finally, we're going to take you to India. Foreign investment, still a very controversial topic there, isn't it?
Yeah, Parliament goes back, of course, today, and the ruling coalition lost one of its key supporters back in September when it announced support for the idea of foreign investment in the retail sector. Now, what this is being taken to symbolise really is Walmart coming into India and taking jobs. This is the opposition BJP party. They've been mounting protests across the country in the last 24 hours or so, and they see it as very much an invasion of foreign companies taking wealth out of India. Those on the other side, of course, saying, look what happened to China's economy since it has opened up to foreign investment and it has come on leaps and bounds faster than India's.
Well, thanks so much, William Edwards, with Business here on France 24. That's it from me. Claire's got the very latest after the break.